Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Foxx, it's good to see you again, and I do thank you for your good leadership in this very critical area. My first question is about the national freight policy, which we established in the FAST Act. And in order to remain competitive, we need to have a robust multimodal freight policy that enhances the efficiency of both our rural and our urban first and last mile connectors. In fact, DOT's National Freight Strategic Plan noted that freight flows across all modes will increase by 42% by the year 2040. In your perspective, what is the status of the implementation of that National Strategic Freight Plan, and how do you think the states are doing at designating those very critical rural and urban corridors? And how's DOT providing any kind of assistance, technical assistance to the states so that they can move forward quickly on that?
Senator, first of all, I want to again thank you and this Congress for the focus on freight. This is an enormously important issue to our country, as you know. And what the FAST Act has done, both on the policy side and on the resource side, has really been to pivot the country towards focusing on this much more. I want to speak on your question to two things. One is the formula-based freight program. We have provided guidance to the states as of this winter to help them understand how to access those resources. And our experience to this point has been there's a lot of interest and excitement at the state level to implement on the formula side of the effort. The period has closed, as I pointed out in my opening statement, for the discretionary freight program, which we will hope to make announcements on that program in the summertime. But our goal is to continue not only putting the resources out there, but things like the expedited permitting and the categorical exclusions and all of the work that's involved in trying to get projects teed up. We are moving on an accelerated basis, and we've made a lot of great progress. That's just two proof points.
Good. I thank you for that. As you know, there's resources out there, and states like Nebraska, I believe, are ready to move on this so that we can start some good progress. And as you know, one of the elements of the highway bill that I'm really pleased with are the regulatory reforms that I authored for the FMCSA. And that was to help with transparency and consistency, but also with the public being more involved in the rulemaking on that. I understand that next week the Department's Motor Carrier Safety Advisory Committee is going to hold a public meeting concerning the implementation of that Section 5203 of the FAST Act. And that would require the FMCSA to conduct a comprehensive review and assessment of all the regulatory guidance that's currently on the books. In relation to this meeting, how does the FMCSA plan to continue the process of reviewing regulatory guidance so we can look at the consistency and the necessity, and also creating greater transparency as we move into the future?
Well, I'm also very pleased to report that the FMCSA has been conducting listening sessions throughout the country and will continue to do so, even above and beyond the commission that you just referenced. This is helping us understand the perspective of industry, understand the perspective of other stakeholders, and frankly, I think it will inure to the benefit of not only our operational approaches, but perhaps even our policy and regulatory approaches going forward. In addition to that, we have created a regulation evaluation division as of last year. This division is working to increase the use of available data and has advanced the agency's efforts to help to arrive at the best available solution on various regulatory and technical issues. We're also using that agency to increase transparency in our regulatory evaluations, which is also of great interest to our stakeholders. We're also committed to advancing the advance notice of proposed rulemaking or proceeding with the negotiated rulemaking when considering major rules that require sufficient technical or scientific information. So these are just some of the process changes that we are working through in response to the language that you were good enough to put in the bill.
Do you think that will help you to respond quicker to stakeholders when they are dealing with that, so that the agency can have a formal response in a more timely manner?
I think it will help us with
Time's
speed.
money when it's
Yes.
come to building roads.
I think it will help us with speed, and I also think it will help us with transparency, because the more you're not communicating in a vacuum, the more people are constantly having communication with us, the less surprises there are on both sides. So I think it'll be very
Exactly.
helpful.
We want to see commerce continue, and the FMCSA is important in making sure that our stakeholders are able to do that. So thank you, sir. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Great seeing you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Fischer.